Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Mario is Missing. The last part we cleared the entirety of the first floor and now we're starting off floor 2 with another city, meaning it's once again time to fast forward. Now I brought up last part the DOS version, and something I should actually bring up about that is that the DOS version is actually a longer game. There are 15 levels here in the Super Nintendo version, but there's 25 in DOS. And obviously that means a lot more unique cities. There are some cities that are visited in both versions, but you're actually going to get a slightly different experience in terms of like questions and such, depending on the version you play. Mind you, I also think the DOS version's a bit more interesting to play to begin with, mostly just due to the fact that it's a slightly more competent game. Either way, now it's, we already finished off our collection for this city. Now it's time for us to pass stuff in. Starting with the, I don't know how to pronounce it, temple, but we need to send in the Caryatid. Now more stuff the DOS version did differently is, I mentioned there was voice acting last part, but it wasn't always like that. There was a CD-ROM version released later on. And there was one particular NPC that was a bit of a telephone that allowed you to call, I think, Mario, Peach, and I think Yoshi. And what's interesting about that is that through that they also talk about Mario's fear of darkness, which is only ever brought up in one other medium, and that's Hotel Mario. So, Also notable, I think the CD-ROM version changed some of the pictures that you would get from the levels, as well as added in some live-action video clips of the locations. Either way, we're passing in our third item now. However, in terms of what city we're in, if you're paying attention during these questions or talking to people, it becomes fairly clear that we are in Athens, Greece. You can also tell that just based off the Greek lettering on some of the buildings. So let's get Yoshi up to there. But what's interesting about Europe in this game is that the moment you enter part of it, you zoom in for more cities. Some of these cities are only used in the DOS version, like I think Madrid's used in the DOS version in particular. But we're over in Athens, so let's get him over here, and now we can leave this place. In general, also, the DOS version had a mayor NPC for every city that would kind of tell you what's going on, and thank you for helping him by the end of it all. There was also, instead of the warp pipes in the DOS version, a taxi feature that allowed you to basically quick travel around, I think, specific taxi signs. There was also something unique in the DOS version in terms of the boss fights. When you cleared all the doors, you would get a fire flower, which would, I think, just instantly take out the Koopaling you're facing. Because here you have to do, instead of having the little boss fight thing. Alright, actually, which city is this? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I think... Okay, I remember which one this is. Now, something I should mention, there's not only a DOS version of this game, along with the Super Nintendo, there's also an NES version, which is, I think, the version the Angry Video Game Nerd covered in one of his reviews. Which is easily the worst version of the game because, my god, it looks like a bootleg. Not to say this doesn't look like a bootleg, too, but whereas you could maybe see this in, like, a magazine and think, okay, this is official licensed edutainment. Oh my god, the NES version looks horrible. That's weird. This was not the first game in the lineup to do this, but one of the earlier examples of sprite reuse in the Mario series, because throughout the entirety of the Super Nintendo's lifespan, they used the Mario World sprite for Mario when it wasn't a full mainline game. Like Yoshi's Cookie used the Mario sprite, as did, I think, some of the Teach's Typing games and such stuff like that. Either way, the NES version of the game is the shortest by far, even though it has the largest amount of floors. There's 7 floors, but there's only 2 cities per, so 14 levels total. On the whole, though, I can say for a fact the DOS version is probably the most entertaining version to watch, if only because of the voice acting and how... Oh, it is. It's not good. But it's also not as bad as Hotel Mario. It's certainly close, though. I'm not actually sure if the game gives you anything extra for taking out all the Koopas within a specific town. I think the most it gives you is extra points for the town clear section. Also, I should mention, this is probably going to be the only edutainment game I ever do an LP of, just because it's the only one I have a nostalgic connection to. For the most part. Because edutainments are weird. They're made for little kids, obviously, and they do have a good reason to exist, because they can actually help out kids quite a bit. This actually helped me learn a good amount of history and stuff when I was little, and geography. But, when compared to more entertaining edutainment games or young kids games like Putt Putt or Freddy Fish or all that weirdness, they're just a lot harder to sit through. Also, if it wasn't obvious where I just brought Yoshi, we're in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I don't think I pronounced that right, but oh well. And now we're gone from it. The most I could say that this could do for entertainment outside of the random LP every now and then is I can imagine this being a very fun game for someone to stream blind, because they'd just be so blown away by how weird it is. Oh gee, I wonder where we are if you look right below me. That doesn't look familiar at all. Totally not. Oh, seeing me jump on that Koopa reminds me. Another thing the DOS version had different was it had different animations for when you knock out a Koopa. Although, honestly, I think one of my favorite Mario animations of all time is in this game. And that's when the Koopa you jump on, like, completely disintegrates into a pile of pieces. That's really freaking cool looking to me. It's also incredibly silly. Also a koala. Huh. Gee, I wonder where they are native to. That doesn't make it obvious at all. I'm trying to remember if I actually still have the cartridge of this or if my brother took it. Let me take a quick look. Yeah, no, that's with my brother. Dang, a Sydney Opera. Now it's just incredibly obvious. I do have to wonder what exactly the development process behind this game was in terms of thinking of what cities and what artifacts to use. Because honestly, I think probably making kids games could be some of the more interesting development stories, because you have to try and think, how would a kid see this thing going on and such? Because of how differently their minds work from that of adults, how they see things, how they think things will work out. Their experimentation especially. Because I remember doing a lot of weird stuff in games as a kid, trying to figure stuff out right. I also remember being able to perfectly follow the ring trails in the special stages in Sonic 2, something I can no longer do. Either way, if it's not entirely obvious at this point, we're in Sydney. I kind of wish that Yoshi gave you some other benefit besides being able to leave through the blue pipe once you jump on it, though. Because if you like talk to everyone and figure out where you are beforehand and then bring him there, I feel like there should be some extra bonus. Because I can't tell if he runs faster. He certainly doesn't kill enemies faster. So there could have been something cool there to do. Let's see. What level is this? This is... Okay, it's this one. It's at this point in the game where the maps are going to start getting large. And sometimes that's not so bad, because sometimes the information centers are close to each other, sometimes the Koopas that have the artifacts are close to each other. But going through every single road and going after every Koopa can get really tedious by this point. Especially when I'm looking at one city next part in particular, the last Koopa I kill out of all of the like 20 on the map is the one that had the last artifact. Though thankfully this is a game I'm going to be able to knock out faster than I thought I was going to be able to. Because in recording, it was 4 parts long, but in editing, it ended up being 3. Fine Arts catalog stolen, huh? Juarez Avenue. That name kind of narrows things down. Something I do find interesting, though, about this game is that, at least according to the Mario Wiki, I'm going to need to research this some more on my own time to figure out if this is true or not. I'm just going to say it is, though, for the sake of laziness. Apparently, according to Software Toolworks, sales of the console versions of this game exceeded like $7 million. and over 1 million sales. And that's... I'm not sure how much I believe that, honestly. Because... First off, buying games was just rarer back in... When did this game come out? 93, 94, somewhere in that range? Yeah, 93. 92 on DOS, 94 on Mac. Generally, that year range. Mind you, I should not be talking because, all things considered, my family was fairly well off in the early 90s. I don't know all the details because, well, I wasn't born yet. Something I do find kind of funny about this game, though, because of just how dumb it is in concept, because you have to think realism versus gameplay, is how Koopas are carrying some of these artifacts. Because some of them, like the spear, okay, yeah, you can kind of see how that one could work because it's a spear. But some of the later things they're carrying just get to ridiculous sizes, and it makes you wonder, how are you hiding this on yourself? Either way, we're in Mexico City. I do like something I actually remember doing a fair amount as a kid. Once I started to figure out how the mechanics worked in this game, was being able to deduct where I was just based off of the visual stereotypes, based off where the buildings and such. And to their credit, there is something to that, because while buildings have overall become a lot more skyscraper-like as time has come and thus cities look more alike, there's always those small things you notice. Oh boy, I wonder what that thing is in the bottom left and the thing in the top left. In fact, this is probably one of the most recognizable cities in the world. The City of Love. Again, though, I gotta say, I really like the background there. It's like all the effort in the game went to that. Though something I should probably talk about is the story the game gives in the manual. Obviously, this game doesn't need much of a story beyond what we know. Mario's been kidnapped, blah, blah, blah. It's in 3 parts. Bowser's plot, Mario's fate, and Luigi's mission. Let's go over Bowser's plot first. Oh no, Bowser and his bad boys are back to a life of crime. This time it's not Mario World, it's your world. From his Antarctic castle, Bowser hustles his cold-blooded crew of cantankerous Koopas into his powerful passcode-operated remote transport and larceny system, portals. Yeah, gee, that's kind of overcomplicated. The Twisted Turtles transport themselves throughout the globe where celebrated cities suffer shell-shocking crime waves as turtles trash landmarks and loot ancient artifacts. A lot of alliteration here. With dough from his slimy scales, Bowser hoards hair dryers from the Have to Have It hotline. What? His plot, melt Antarctica and flood the planet. Mario's fate. Will the brave brothers from Brooklyn permit this abominable snow plane? The boys say, not. Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi trick across ice and snow to shellac the shelled one's schemes. But Bowser's slick in one last trick. He takes the dearest thing of all. Mario is missing. Luigi's mission. Luigi's must stop the Koopas, foil Bowser's plan, and find Mario. Sneaking into each portal, Luigi is transported to a city in trouble. There, Luigi needs to nab a Koopa, grab its loop, and return the artifact to its proper landmark. Along the way, Luigi explores the city, chats with locals, reads maps, and solves puzzles. Often do this before time runs out, once he figures out where he is in the globe. Luigi must use a globulator to call Yoshi, only after Yoshi scares Pokeway can Luigi to return to Bowser's castle and lock the portal for that city. Well, the Luigi mission part was kind of bland. Also, we are in Paris, obviously. It's also the last level of floor 2. Well, that was certainly more entertaining than I expected it to be. Man, that was actually a lot of alliteration. I kind of have to applaud them for that. Either way, it's time for the boss of this one. I actually forget which Koopa this is. I think this is Lenny. Either Lemmy. I've lost track of which ones are which, honestly, unless they're Wendy, Morton, or Ludwig. Because, well, no, I remember Roy, because Roy is the one that looks like a pop star. But the other 3, hell if I remember. Iggy, I can't remember which one he is and all that. These boss fights aren't really dull, though. Mind you, it's like it's not meant to be a full-out platformer. Either way. With that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 3, we're going to be heading into the entirety of floor 3 and seeing how the end of the game treats us. See you guys then.